A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who will welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy 1 Million Cups Wednesday. My name is Tyler DeMars. I'm with the North Dakota Small Business Development Centers, and let's hear it for 84 degrees today. I have a high of 84. Well, and it is that kind of week because we have 84 today, and my son's track meet in Minot tomorrow looks like it's going to be canceled because they have a snowstorm coming in Minot. So that's the kind of week in April that it is. But well, yeah, welcome. Glad to have everybody here this morning. How many first-timers do we have this morning for 1 Million Cups? Nice. I see a bunch of hands up. So Tosha and Kelly, good work bringing some new faces to the room. If you've never been here before, you might be asking, what is 1 Million Cups? Why do we do this every Wednesday morning? Well, 1 Million Cups is a networking and professional development program we put on every week here at Dakota Stage Theater. We're putting a different small business owner, entrepreneur, sometimes nonprofit leaders or event organizers, pretty much anybody doing interesting work in Bismarck, Mandan, surrounding areas that we want to support. We give them the stage for the morning, have them tell their story of what they're trying to accomplish, what their vision is, maybe some of the challenges they're facing, and then we do a Q&A session with them, kind of acting as a community advisory board for that person or those folks. Asking them curious, critical questions, making suggestions for them. Basically, we're trying to build a network around them to give them a better chance at success. So the question we're asking every week is, can we change the face of our startup community by connecting local entrepreneurs over 1 million cups of coffee? All right, first off, thank you to our sponsors. So we have a number of organizations that support 1 Million Cups here in Bismarck. These are our Venti sponsors. Next, we have some Grande sponsors. Thank you, University of Marion, Dakota Bank, who is new this year as a sponsor. A number of tall sponsors. And then, of course, our in-kind sponsors that a lot of these give their people's time to the effort so we can keep this up and running every Wednesday morning. All right, so as Kelly and Tosha are presenting this morning, make sure you're thinking about where you want them to dig in a little deeper. What are you curious about? Do you have suggestions for them? Once we get to our Q&A portion of the event, we want to make that a good conversation. So be thinking about your questions so we can have a strong Q&A session afterwards. Before we get started, a couple of community announcements. We are celebrating every day with National Day Calendar. Today is National Jelly Bean Day. So jelly beans probably on the Mount Rushmore of candies, non-chocolate division, I'd say. I think if chocolate's included, they run the table there. But I don't even know, where's a good spot in town where you can get good flavored jelly beans? Like Dakota Nut and Candy is mostly chocolate and nut-centric. Is there a spot in town where you can get good flavored jelly beans? Walmart? Okay. I was hoping for a small business suggestion there, but that might not fit the bill. Well, if you go down the Google rabbit hole and can find one, try to support a small business today. Go find some jelly beans and celebrate National Jelly Bean Day. All right, a couple other announcements. So our Bismarck Public Library is in their 7th year of doing this Families Around the World event. So This is a cultural diversity event they do once a year at the library where they bring in representatives from different cultures in our community, have them maybe play some music, bring some different food in. There's some different culturally relevant arts and crafts that they do. Just a good opportunity to get exposed and get immersed in kind of the cultural diversity that we have in Bismarck, Mandan. So Monday, April 27th, great event for kids and teens. If you're looking for something to do on a Monday evening, it's free, so please check that out if you can. All right, this one also mine. So at the Small Business Development Centers, we do these Business Builders webinars once a month. And what these are is a hour-long deep dive into different topics or common questions we get from our clients at the Small Business Development Centers. So this is the schedule we have coming up. Next month, May 12th, we have Al Hout, who's our Deputy Director for the SBA, Small Business Administration. He was actually on stage here last week. He's going to be talking to Sandy Luck, who's an entrepreneur out of Grand Forks, I believe, about just lessons learned as an entrepreneur. Next one there is Michael Danielson, who's our director of the Veteran Business Outreach Center of the Dakotas. He's going to be talking about startup logistics, so navigating the Secretary of State website, registering LLCs or S-Corps or trademarking a name, all the different kind of logistical steps you need to take to start a business, specifically how to do that without paying some of those third-party vendors to do it on your behalf. Most of that is pretty inexpensive if you know how to navigate some of those websites. So that's a good one if you're thinking about starting a business. And then after that, a more niche one, Beyond Production, Diversifying Farm Income Without Adding More Acres or Labor, is in July there. So you can see the whole schedule of events at ndsbdc.org/on-demand. These are free. You do have to register for them, but they are free. Also, we have every Business Builder webinar we've ever done. It's archived on that website. So you can go back and look at different topics and watch past webinars as well. A great library of resources for entrepreneurs. All right, axe throwing and cornhole. Anybody here to make this announcement? No? Okay, I'll do this one then too. Oh, come on up, sir. All right,
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ricardo Chapa. So I own Quality Movers. We're a local moving company, do long distance as well. But I firmly believe in networking. I think it's a great thing that every business owner should, dive into. Grow your network. It's your net worth, right? So I'm hosting a networking event May 20th, 5 to 9. We have some great sponsors. 701 Venue in Mandan is sponsoring the spot. Nancy Huber with Gate City is sponsoring Cornhole. We've got Chick-fil-A sponsoring the dinner for the night. We're going to just have some great fun. And I guess really what it is it's a free event. Come have some fun, grow your network, and I guess see who you can meet and see what business opportunities come from that. But I just wanted to create something that isn't just hanging out and just talking and having a network. This is just actually having fun, and then the networking is just a sub-product of that. So just wanted to bring it to your attention. I do have a few flyers if you'd like one. If you or your business colleagues want one at your business, let me know. I'll drop one off. But I would encourage everybody to come check it out and meet me. I'd love to meet you guys all, so have some fun.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for organizing that, too. All right, any other community announcements this morning? All right, if not, and if you ever do have a community announcement, that 1mcbizman701@gmail.com is where you'd send a slide if you have one. If you can be here to make that announcement in person, that's great. If not, just give us a few details in the email, and we're happy to make that on your behalf as well. Okay, well, enough from me. Let's get to the reason we came here this morning. So we have Tasha York and Kelly Sand have this collaboration around photography and branding for small businesses that they're working on. They're going to tell us a story, give us an update on what they have going on here. Let's welcome Kelly and Tasha to the stage.
Hello.
Are you standing or sitting?
I'm going to stand.
Okay.
I'm Kelly Sand. I own Pen Name Publishing and Branding. I've been doing marketing in various aspects for the last 2 decades, but have just recently gone independent in the last 6 to 8 months. So I have done a lot of collaborating with Tasha, reached out to her to present with me today because I think when we can do when we can bring both of our talents together, that's when businesses really shine.
I'm Tosha York with Tosha Rochelle Photography. I've been doing photography, I guess, for about 15 years and been running it as a business for 7 years. My passion's really just with getting businesses out of their comfort zone and getting those photos for them to connect them into the community and bring them out and have them seen. Because a lot of times we feel like we're invisible sometimes, and we're doing all this work behind the scenes and no one really sees it. So my favorite thing is to be able to show that off for them. So yeah.
Very good. So how we can work together, I think there's a lot of businesses out there that are doing one or the other. They've gone through either the photo session and they have all this great photography, but they don't quite know how to showcase it. They don't know what to do with it, or, they'll post a couple a week for 20 weeks and then they're kind of out, right? And then also, there's other companies that are going to look towards marketing because they're uncomfortable being in front of the camera, which I don't blame them. I completely understand, but they'll go to the marketing side of things, and there's lots of graphics and everything, might coordinate, but their audience still doesn't know who they are. They don't feel like they know them, and we all want to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And so when we can bring everything together, I think that's kind of the ticket. Anything else on this?
That's perfect.
Go ahead.
Oh, was that me? Yeah, I kind of went over, I guess, how long I've been doing this, but basically, my favorite thing to do, basically, when I come into businesses, a lot of times people just think like, oh, you're a photographer, so you'll come in, take some photos, and call it good. And I'm like, no, I'm one of your, like, I kind of consider myself one of their employees. I'm like, no, like, tell me the whole story. Tell me your whole business. Because when it comes to branding, and it's like with Kelly, like, we want to know everything, the ins and outs of your business. We want to know what makes you amazing in your community and what makes your team amazing, and those little details. And so when I go into there, it's bringing a shot list together and working with your team and getting those shots together in a guide. And then basically after that session, after we do that, that's kind of where Kelly comes in, and that's what I love, what she does.
Yeah, so taking all those branding images and kind of bringing them together in like a cohesive business suite, right? There's a lot of people who are willing to do the work to have the marketing and put themselves out there, but a lot of small businesses don't have a specific marketing department, which is completely understandable and probably not needed, right? But you still need someone that is knowledgeable in order to work with the sign person, who's going to work with the billboard person, who's going to talk to the person doing the social media and the person designing the newspaper ad, so we can have one cohesive look out there. So that's why I like bringing Tosha's work into mine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is actually Gratitude Salon, one of the clients that we both share and we get to work with. And so one of the things that I guess the type of people we like working with is people who are brand new, that are just getting out into the business because they're kind of just figuring this all out. And as I remember starting out my business, it was really scary at first, not knowing anybody and not knowing exactly what to do. And so I love being able to come in there and be like, hey, we've all been here and trying to figure out what they could use, who their target client is, and how we can help them. And then Kelly.
I love working with like the multi-generational businesses or the ones that have been here a long time. I refuse to showcase any of the work up here that I've done to update things because I'm not going to shame someone for not updating their business cards since 1997 in a room full of people, okay? It's not how I roll. But it is really fun when, you have those companies that have been here forever and they are the best at what they do, but as the business is aging and their massive client base is aging, we want to make sure that their image stays fresh and that the people now growing up and needing their services are going to be able to recognize them in this massive sea of advertising instead of calling the big box people or, you know, just the corporation that maybe just has a representative here in town, when we have resources of community-owned businesses that have been here for 3 generations. So we just want to make sure that those guys are still seen as the new generations come up into the market and need their services. So that's one of my favorite things to do, just to make sure that people know they're the best at what they do, because they have to look the best at what they do in order to gain those new younger clients, if that makes sense. And then we kind of talked about the remote marketing department. It makes sense that a small business is not going to have a specific marketing person. I mean, small businesses need people that have billable hours, right? And so when you can have someone to coordinate all of that, I think it's handy.
Yeah. Oh, this is Lacey's session. So basically, I come in there and we usually figure out whether your business could use photography or video, and usually it's a combination of both or one or the other. I feel like with being online right now, it's almost impossible to not have video sometimes when you're going and doing things, because people want to be able to see what your business looks like. I know a lot of people will kind of drive by and they see a business and they're like, oh, like I wonder what it looks like inside. And I've done it sometimes where I'll go and Google that business just to kind of see like, hey, do they have anything like online where I can kind of check out what they look like, who their team's about. And a lot of times it'll just be kind of a photo of the outside of the building, and then that's about it. And I've noticed a huge, huge increase in engagement when I've seen that people are, like Kelly does an amazing job at asking specific questions, like even for, well, the gratitude is in the last one, but like what their favorite activity is to do. It kind of gets the whole community engaged in what they're doing, and I think that's really cool to be able to show every aspect of that business. So then when that person's kind of online, kind of like me, that's like, okay, so-and-so said to go here, but I want to just kind of do a little bit of online creeping to make sure they're, you know, if I want to go to them. And I love to see businesses who are always posting online. Then I kind of know, like, if I see a post within like the last at least month, I know, like, okay, like they're trying, they're, you know, they're going. And I like to be able to see, like, can I see myself as their customer? And if I can answer that question right away, then I know they're the person that I need to go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tosha and I talk a lot about brand authenticity. And I think too with small businesses, especially I mean, I consider Bismarck a small town in, you know, relatively, right? We all know each other. I think the team that the small business owner has surrounded themselves with is just as important as the owner themselves, because they all represent you know, what that business is to the community. And so, yes, like Tosha mentioned, when I'm doing social media, one of the things that I've incorporated into a lot of them is a get to know me form that I have all the employees fill out, and we feature the employees on the social media page as well, not just the owner. Because people are going to, you know, different people are going to click with different employees. And I think it's important to, as like for the business owners, to show that they're proud of their team, they're proud of their employees. And I just think it lends a level of transparency so people can see everyone that's working there. I also really love what Tosha did. I'm going to use Lacey's Custom Jewelry as an example. You think a jewelry store, you walk in and you see all these pretty shiny things, and then you go in the back and it's a completely different world. It is a messy world in order to make all this pretty stuff, right? My son is a jeweler there, so I've seen the back end, and I'm fascinated by the process. They light stuff on fire, okay? They get paid to light stuff on fire. But you don't know that until Tosha goes back there and brings these incredible images. Do you want to talk about that session?
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps right now as you're talking about that. First of all, I'm a creative first, so I think when I go into something like this, I'm like, okay, there's someone working on a piece of jewelry. How can I make it look like someone's scrolling past, they're like, oh my goodness, what is this? Right away, right? And so when she was first telling me, actually, I think it was at another networking group, she was presenting and she was telling us that she actually does custom jewelry. I had no idea she did like actual, like they were making it in-house. And so that one of the first things I remember when we were going through her website at first, just kind of seeing which images she needed. That was the one part of the process that we didn't have, was kind of the behind the scenes and how she makes these pieces of jewelry. And as we were going back there, well, Mason was back there, and I couldn't believe just how cool and intricate, like this is just one of the shots when we shot through, but he's in there with a little, I don't know what tool it is, but he's in there designing this, and like they're just so zero focused, and they have a little magnifying glass, and it's like I had no idea any of this was in there. And then they're back there melting the metal, and then they're cleaning the rings with this high pressure power washer thing. Yeah, Lacey would be mortified how I'm describing it. But there's these little things that I think just add another part of the process. Like, this is why we are the best at what we do. And that's my favorite thing to showcase with businesses, is like, why do you love what you do, and why are you the best at what you do? And coming in there and showcasing that, and not only just here, let's take a photo, but like in the best way possible that we can.
Yeah, I think showing the process, and again, it's that level of transparency. It's being authentic to your audience so they can see exactly what you do, and they feel like they know you, and they feel like they trust you because you've given them so much already before they even walk in the door. So yeah, I do think that's very important, and the authenticity kind of lends itself to do you want to talk about AI a little bit? A little bit.
Don't get me
We
started.
only have a few minutes, guys.
Well, first off, I know some people have a lot of negative opinions about it. I think it's beautiful in the way that if there is something that is not shown that you can help with helping the behind the scenes of your business, like, it's an amazing tool to help with that. I use it all the time. It saves me so much time. The part that is hard for me is when we start using it with visuals, and we use it how it takes away the personality and how we write. So those are one of the things that I'm very passionate about, is showing your team's personality and showing the real person. And because a lot of these people here, like Charity with Northern Lights, she loves her job, and you can see it in some of her photos. She's laughing and smiling. Some of her customers she's had, there have been her customers for like, I don't know, 15 plus years. They talk to Charity like she's a family member to them. So it's showing those things that AI will never be able to replace, and just that experience of their team feeling valued too, because she had me come in and do these headshots and photos of them working with their clients. They're going to be able to use those headshots, those are their headshots they get to use. So it's like, it's bringing their team value, their team's cared for. And not only that, but you see that personality in those photos, and it's not just a copy paste or generated image. And yeah,
the personality is hard to get to shine through. It is wonderful. They're wonderful tools when they're able to make us better humans, right? I use an AI meeting note taker. It allows me to be more present, because then I don't have to worry about taking notes, right? I can engage with people better. And so in that case, it's allowing me to be a better human. I think, like Tosha was saying, in the imagery, there's just something you can't capture unless you're there photographing the person. And Tosha does such a good job bringing that personality and making people comfortable too.
maybe throw a couple dad jokes in there. Like,
So many dad jokes.
I was telling her the cringy story about a bank where, yeah, he was not thrilled with my dad jokes, but I thought it was
That
funny.
says more about them than it does about Tasha. Anyways, I'll let you go ahead.
Oh, yes, our biggest challenges. So, I think, like a lot of business owners, I try to do everything myself. And I've been trying and working slowly at getting other people to help with me, getting an editor, because I think the best thing we can do as business owners is do the thing that makes us the best, doing just that, and letting those other things that like we're like, no, this is not me, this is not what I need to be doing, letting someone else do that. That's what they love to do. And so something recently too is setting work boundaries. That's something that I think we're all struggling with if you own a business. I have 2 little kids and I have a husband, and it gets challenging sometimes. And for a brand photographer, I don't know, like I feel like with portrait photographers, it's like the fall, summer, that's a crazy year. For me, I think when we went into this, I think, like my family, like, oh, you're going to be busy in these years. But for brand photography, it's kind of, you're busy through the whole year because your businesses are always needing content. And so that's been kind of a challenge, is finding where to set those boundaries. Because we can definitely overwork ourselves with
Especially
that.
when we love what we do. And when you're a creative person, it's very hard to say no.
Yes. Yeah, I think when we give ourselves time to figure out why we got into the business, right? I'm a super big creative, and I really have not let myself do shoots that are unpaid work. And I've noticed when I let myself have like more downtime and I actually do fun, creative stuff, I'm more passionate about my business. I come up with better ideas. And so I really do truly feel like if you want to be the best business owner you can be, finding the time to actually rest and figure out why you got in the business in the first place, and setting those boundaries and setting that like schedule and making sure you get that once a month in. So yeah, that's been my biggest challenge. What about you?
Yeah, when you mentioned why you get into the business, the reason I'm passionate about marketing and bringing everyone's, the whole small business owner's team into it and putting your true authentic self out there in a transparent way is because when you go to work in your business, it's your time away from your family, right? And I want people to be proud of what they do. And I want to be able to showcase that to the world. And there's a reason they got into business, right? There's a passion behind that. And I want to be able to showcase that as far as, why they did it. And they might not be the creative-minded, people like Tosha and I are. Thank God, because we don't need we don't need everyone like us, right? But yeah, just being able to have people be proud of what they do in their time away from their family. So I think that's important. Recently, I did hire an assistant, which has been wonderful. I have him working on some of the templates that I have done, where he can, crank out some social media stuff that I've already designed, things like that, just to get some more tedious work off my plate, so I can be more creative. And then my biggest challenge, I would say, the push-pull of working in the business and on the business. I just have a passion for building business and systems and processes, and have all these ideas, right? But that doesn't do you any good if you don't have time to implement them. So, yeah, I love doing both, and so sometimes it's hard to draw that line. But in your studio?
Oh, yeah. So in June, possibly July, because, construction, you never know. But so Matt and Alexa, who own Salt and Sparrow, they're building another space. It'll be part of my studio. It'll be a studio space, and it'll also be a space where their brides can get ready in the morning, like on the weekends. And so Alexa is a beautiful designer. If you've been into Salt and Sparrow, you know how beautiful and airy and open it is and how much window light there is in there. So she's designing the studio in the same way. And as someone who loves natural light, I am super, super excited for this space. So that'll be ready in June or possibly July. And then, yeah, other than that, I've just been working on expanding my services throughout the rest of the state. I love everything about this state. Honestly, I love Bismarck the best because it feels like a nice, close-knit community, but I also love the rest of North Dakota. So yeah, working on that.
That'd be great. Our
Yeah.
contact info.
If you ever feel like you want great dad jokes and marketing, no, I'm just kidding. If you feel like this is something you ever feel like it's a challenge and you want to save time and you need somebody to come in and do the visuals and the marketing for you, or if you have any questions, Kelly and I are here to answer those. You can contact us. I have bismarckphoto.com, and then I'm very active on Instagram. That's kind of my preferred platform. And what about you?
And in the spirit of being transparent and authentic, I'm often that to my detriment, but it could be worse, right? When I first started this business 6 to 8 months ago, I got really busy right away. Not everyone is lucky enough to do that. And again, like I said, my biggest challenge is working on the business, working in the business. I don't want to say to no clients. I own a marketing company, and my website's not even up yet, you guys. I'm not going to lie to you, okay?
Same girl, same. So, you know.
So yeah, yeah, because I put my clients first. So we're just going to spin that like, oh, like when you're in a job interview, what's the a bad trait you have? I'm a perfectionist. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing that right now, and I don't mean to, but truly. So yeah, so I am on Instagram and Facebook and maybe LinkedIn. I don't know. Have to look at that later. I'm going to pencil that in for next week. Maybe I'll get a website up. So yeah, so that is my social media contact info. But do we want to do questions?
Nope. Yeah. Do we sit now? Do we sit? Okay.
All right, Ross is on the mic mug, so if you have a question,
Thank you.
please raise your hand, and Ross will get that mic in your hand. First, just a note on dad jokes. I think you're nailing it, because one of the defining characteristics is that the teller of the dad joke finds it more funny than anybody else. My kids often
Absolutely.
tell me, Dad, your jokes aren't funny, but you laughing at your own jokes is funny. That's what, like, nailed it.
You got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess a lot of, as you guys are talking, great. Thank you for presenting. And there's quite a process you work through with your clients, it feels like, from initial contact to kind of setting expectations to that onboarding and discovery piece. How do you communicate the time commitment that your clients are going to need to make to work with you? I'm just curious how those conversations go.
I'm more of an in-person person, but if someone doesn't have time to go grab coffee, we have an online questionnaire that they fill out, and so it's basically it's a book about your business a little bit. I mean, it's not quite that extensive, but it's something I want you to genuinely think about when you're filling it out. So it can be anywhere from like, what's your goals in the next 6 months? What do you want these photos to do for your business? You know, who's your target client? Who's someone that you admire in your industry? So those all help me kind of figure out, because we don't really have, as business owners, we don't have a ton of time to be like, okay, let me tell you my whole life story. I mean, I'd love to hear it, because I love listening and having one-on-one conversations, but not everybody has time for that. So we start off with something like that.
Mm-hmm. And mine really varies, because I like to work within a client's budget. So we might literally start off with business cards, right? Because we're especially startups, you know. And so, I mean, their time commitment to what I do is going to, you know, definitely vary. I would say the social media management onboarding takes the longest amount of time. You know, I do need questionnaires filled out by the employees, by the owners. You know, I kind of go in and do an interview and see what they want to showcase. And then just as far as getting me access to, you know, be able to post on their behalf and that, you know, that type of thing is probably one of the biggest headaches. But so that's going to be a bigger time commitment than them just saying like, hey, I need some product, or, you know, we're just going to start with a billboard. Can you design this? Like, okay, what does your website look like? What does this look like? Well, we haven't gotten there yet. So, you know, then I'm starting from scratch, don't really have to work around anything. We, you know, create an image. So it just really depends on where they're at in the process. I mean, I could be working with someone for 2-3 years in order to spread out that financial burden, because we want them to be able to see an ROI on some of the stuff we're doing too as we progress. So,
Like you mentioned, they start off with business cards. It's kind of how it is with, rarely, I mean, there's people, but rarely anyone's like, I need a brand session. Like, usually it's, let me grab a headshot really quick.
Yeah.
And then they get addicted because they're like, oh, this was actually really fun. And I'm like, see, it doesn't have to be like school photos. But like, that's, it's,
Unless
like
that's
the
the look you're
game,
going
right?
for. If you want, yeah.
it's the awkward.
Well, quick follow-up to that one. So I'd imagine that through that, I mean, you are helping people kind of pull out of their business to work on it rather than in it all the time, right? And I'm guessing there's some insights that come from that. Are there kind of some common themes of the kind of insights that business owners get when they're working with you and working through that discovery process?
I mean, I've noticed there's clients that are often like me, where they're like, I have so many irons in the fire. They're like, can you just, they're like, can you just handle everything for me? And I'm like, yep. Just tell me like a couple questions and we'll get it worked out based on your website. So there's definitely people where, yeah, we don't always have time. We don't always have time to do it all. And that's what we're here for. It's like, we're not gonna have time. You're not gonna have time, and that's okay. That's why we're here to do what we do. So.
Yeah, so a couple of things on that. I think as business owners, we are so close to our businesses. I'm thinking about Lacey's again too. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't dawn on us some of the things that we need to communicate to the public, okay? I just had this conversation with my son the other day. He said, hey, when you make a post about ring sizing, we had a client in the store that didn't realize you could size rings up. She thought you could only go down. Okay, she has no experience in jewelry. Like, why would she know that? And it didn't. Why would that dawn on a jeweler that they need to tell people that? Because to them, that's like the most common thing, that they do for repairs or whatnot. So it's just, if you picture, say, a glass shop, right? I mean, we think, okay, they make big glazing for commercial buildings or whatever. Like, what does it really mean to go and work there every day, and what does their process look like? And so I think there's a lot of things that people need to communicate to the public that they don't even realize because they're so close to it. I think too, I think in yours that's probably really true as well. Because people have they have an assumption in their head of what their headshot day is going to be like, right? Most of the time they're dreading it, until they meet people like Tosha that are really passionate at what they do, and they're able to bring out their personality. So I think it's really important just to have that outside person, even if you do have a marketing department, just to have that outside person to look in on your business that maybe doesn't know it as well as they do, because they're going to be able to relate to the public more. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, getting a fresh set of eyes on the business. The Lacey's jewelry example was a really good example of that. They didn't realize they had marketing and branding assets there in their production side, and from branding strategy to market positioning to even to pricing and making sure they're getting the premium on the handcrafted jewelry they're getting.
Yeah,
that all flows really well.
And then educating, during that whole process too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, question over here.
Great. Thank you so much for presenting this morning. You guys really lit up when you were talking about like Lacey's, where there's a tangible product in the end. How would you recommend, or what challenges do you find that business owners and entrepreneurs that offer intangible products, like something like financial services or insurance or consulting, how do you recommend those people approach their marketing and their business?
My question might be different too, or
Go ahead. You go first.
Actually, so I did a brand mini for a financial advisor, and I think a lot of people, like there's not a whole lot to show in that, but she had such a beautiful energy and personality about her that I almost asked her, I'm like, okay, like what are actually things that you enjoy doing? What are things that people can connect with you that you do? Because a lot of times when we hear like financial advisor, we're like, oh, so you just, you work with money, you like
watch numbers move on a screen all day.
Yeah. And she's much more than that. She enjoys time with her family, and like those are the things she wants to help clients get back is more time with their family. And so it's like showing different aspects of their personality. What do they enjoy doing? Like, this is what you could be doing. A lot of the times, I like to bring out that specific part of who they are. And that's what I think sometimes can make us a little uncomfortable. Like, no, like, I just do this, I do this. And it's like, no, like, let's showcase actually a little bit more about who you are, because that's often what connects us to someone we want to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, we go to a financial advisor because we want financial advising services, right? But we want to be able to connect with that person when we're there. So I would say Northern Lights Physical Therapy is a good example too. You know, they don't have a tangible product, but when we can get across that we can keep you doing the things you enjoy doing into old age, like, how powerful is that to not have to give up the things that you enjoy? So when we can get across people being outside and doing their activities, and just the picture that we had of Charity up here, like the joy people have, like the joy that the staff has in getting people to that point. And I think too, that's where a lot of the get to know things that, like, I do on social media work really well. The questionnaire, it doesn't have to do just with their job. I have, questions in there like, what's your favorite thing to do outside? What's your favorite season, holiday? What's your favorite local retail store? Just to, try to spread the love to other small businesses, coffee shops, that type of thing, just so people can find those places of connection.
Yeah. Well, and like my client, for example, she actually like rarely meets with people in her office. It's mostly in coffee shops, or maybe she meets them for lunch. And so it's just really fun to showcase that visual piece, because I think people just think like office, computer, like there's the things, you connect with that kind of person, and to go in there and completely rework the visuals, and it helps people to see like, oh, okay, that completely shifted what I was thinking as a financial advisor.
Just a segue on that. I mean, you are selling an intangible product of branding strategy, and Tasha, you're a photographer, but branding is a lot of what you do as well.
Yeah.
Kind of what lessons in branding your own businesses, and I think both you feel very authentic to your, like the business feels very authentic to your personalities, but what lessons have you learned as you've worked out your own branding strategy and trying to sell an intangible product?
I would say getting the passion behind it across to your audience is going to be the most important part. Like you used financial advisor as an example. There's a reason that a financial advisor does what they do. If you think about the impact that a good financial advisor can have on someone's life, it's huge. As far as getting prepared to be able to transition into retirement earlier, or provide a college education for their kids, that type of thing. So I think just getting that passion across is super important.
And I actually have to think, because I maybe get photos done once a year, maybe, and then I'll get them done, and I'm like, oh wait, no, this is why I do it. This is why I need to do it more often. But I've been trying more lately to I hire someone to come with me and show the process of what I do, because that's often how I can show the passion of what I do, is through video. And so that's kind of how I've tried to showcase that part. But even after like a brand session, I can't tell you how, like, seeing an image of yourself that you're like, wait, that's not me. That's crazy. Like, that feeling afterwards is something I don't think I can try to show and showcase, but that's the one thing I've noticed that's changed the way my clients have shown up, is seeing those images. It gives them almost like a legit, like, okay, like now I have something to confidently push out there. You have an idea and you're like, okay, what photo do I post? And you have something right then and there, and that's cool to feel.
Yeah, any entrepreneur, small business owner, really anybody getting outside of their comfort zone deals with that imposter syndrome at some point, and that can be a critical threshold to get through, and those pictures can help with that. Question over here.
Hey, good morning. Jesse Brock here. My question is, like, how, in the sense of, if you wanted white teeth, right, you don't want braces and you don't want to go to the orthodontist. The end result is you want the straight white teeth. In your guys' business, how do you take an entrepreneur business and saying, here's the end result, like here's what we want to get to, and then they understand maybe the process isn't going to be as fun or as exciting as they thought it would be, much like standing in front of a camera when you're not camera shy, or having to lay out all the things when we're busy to get to that social media post. So that's the first question. And then Kelly, would you also talk about your publishing side of your
Sure.
business?
I would say I first go to clients and ask them to show me, and I think you mentioned it earlier too, show me some of the people in your industry that you look up to. And a lot of times they'll be able to pull up the social media pages or some of their print ads or whatnot, maybe a video that they created. And they'll be able to show, well, I really like this. And then we kind of go through the process. Okay, in order to get here, this is what it's going to take. The teeth was a perfect example, kind of like a personal trainer too, right? It does take a lot of putting yourself out there, and building a brand doesn't happen overnight, right? You need to get that recognition and things out there. So I go to what people in your industry are you looking towards, and then just kind of work backwards from those people's images or whatnot. How about you?
Well, and I always ask, like, I think there's the where do you want to be, right? The what people do you admire, and then how do we take that and make it you? What does that process look like for you? Because I know, well, I feel like we've all seen it. There's the trend of polished stuff that's been going out. And I think it's a lot of just like, ooh, I like this person, so like I want my stuff to look like this. And the thing that I think has been hard is pulling out what makes that business unique and say, hey, this is actually the steps and the processes, and these are the types of things we're going to bring out in your business that's going to still give you that same established, legit, confident feeling that this business has, but it's going to be 100% you. Because I think that's what a lot of times what happens is we're just like, oh, this is exactly what I want, this is what they have, and it's like, no, like, I don't think people realize the influence they have when they show off exactly what makes them so unique, and it's different, and people love different.
Yes.
They love when you can show that you're going to be different visually than the other person.
Yep. And that, see, and I can picture that. I can, okay, like, you guys enjoy this person's content.
Mm-hmm.
I can picture what theirs could be like, right, with their personality. And I shouldn't assume that they can picture that. Just like, we shouldn't assume that that people know you can size rings up, right? So yeah, so that's another good point too.
So fun.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm picturing, as we go through these other profiles, I'm picturing their stuff on it. But then need to communicate
Well, it's
that.
like Lacey's, like their individual personalities are just shown in all of it. You could just see their passion in what they do. And just their business themselves, I think. And that's the thing, just being in your own business is showing already a complete different look. Because they have a really cool purple and black visual, and most businesses are very white and bright. And so it was really cool to just
kind of run with it.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Jesse, what your other question was the publishing. So in business owner stories, many of them have a story to tell. There are a lot of people out there that have always wanted to write a book and get that story across. And they might be really good writers and have a book half done, but they really don't know the next steps. So I do offer self-publishing services as well, because a lot of times that story is an extension of their business, right? And I've published a few books myself and went through the process, and so I assist people in doing that. I just recently did that with Jesse, so obviously you should all go get his book. It is fabulous. I'm not just saying that. It's very, very impactful. So yeah, so that can also be part of getting your message out there, is creating those books.
Awesome. Another question here.
Do you ladies offer packages for the both of your services in one? And if you do not, is that something you have considered offering in the future?
We currently don't. I think packages are really hard, because I think everyone is looking for something different. They might find us after they did one avenue of advertising, and then they discover us. So we're not going to charge them to do that if that was part of our package type of a thing. You know what I mean? And I really want to work with their, within their budget as far as like, as far as spreading out those costs. I think that's important. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I mean, if I find that someone's working with another person I love working with, I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's do this in a different way, and I completely will change up depending on what they need. And I'll often go to Kelly if I know like someone's working with Kelly, be like, hey, Kelly, what have you been doing for them?
Yeah.
And how can I help them with that? So like, for instance, they wanted headshots, and I'm like, well, do you want like a little mini brand session added onto that so we can actually, so Kelly has some more stuff to use?
We did that with Gratitude Spa and Salon. And let me tell you guys, those girls, when they got done, they had the best time that day and felt so proud to be part of that team, and they felt so important, as they should, because they are, when they got done with that session, that their employer wanted to do that with them. I mean, so your ROI isn't just in bringing in revenue, right, from your advertising, but you can also look at it as an employee retention type of situation, and just being able to build that community within your business. That was huge. But that's completely not the question you asked. So I think packages are just really hard because I think people are looking for so many different things to fit their particular needs at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really try to fit your service to where they're at, what
Yeah.
their budget is, kind of, yeah.
And both of us have a really hard time saying no if people want something. So like we could develop all these packages and we'd be like, but it's okay, you can change it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
it basically. I'm like, here's
It's
the
what would happen
packages,
anyways,
but
so-
we'll
These
work
are more,
with you.
these are more suggestions.
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
that-
these are, yep.
Marlo.
Good morning, Kelly and Tasha. Great job this morning. So Tasha, about a year ago, pulls me into some type of photo shoot. I forget what event we were at. Was it the Women's Business Summit?
Yeah, it's the business.
And so we took a couple photos, and I have a folder that I send out when I get interviewed for different things. That happens once or 100 times a week. And so I send this package out to them afterwards, and they always pick the photos you took. So I just wanted to share that with you. So how often should we update our headshots?
I mean, if we're really being like frugal on headshots, at least every 5 years. But I've noticed though that like if you get your hair changed, if your style switches up a little bit, I always encourage you to update it because we want to show our most recent self, and I think it can be a little bit of we can be taken aback sometimes when we see someone's headshots and they're 20 and then you meet them and it's like, oh, it's been a bit, huh? And so I think obviously that's the extreme, but like hair color, those different things, like if someone switched jobs, let's say they go from corporate to a small business owner, maybe they don't need a very professional blazer look, maybe they need a more casual option. And so once in a while when we do the headshot minis once a quarter or so, that's kind of like a great excuse to have people come in and just say, hey, let's do a quick little update. It doesn't have to be long. Yeah, so.
And I think too, depending on what type of business you have, a lot of businesses are seasonal, and so everything's going to look different in the summer versus the winter. So depending on what you're trying to showcase, you may have to, I know Tasha does do packages herself where she'll come in once a quarter and do just a small session, just so you can get some winter stuff, some summer stuff. So, it doesn't look like you're just reusing photos.
Same ones, yeah.
Question about just kind of your mix of clients. Do you work with startups, or is it mostly existing businesses that you're working with?
I would say the majority is existing, but there'll be some, like when I do brand minis once a year, that's usually when the startups come in because they don't really have, or they'll start with like a headshot. I always say the headshot's like the gateway, and then they're like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, okay. yeah, this wasn't so bad. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah. So I do logo design and development, so that would obviously be for the startups or kind of like a refresh on an existing business. But a lot of my clients, I would say, are the ones in that growth mode where they are now at the point where they have too much on their plate and they need to offload some things. They are good at what they do, so then they come in and let me be good at what I do. Just that way they can spend their time doing what they do best, which of course is getting everyone a better ROI. They're able to have impact on more people by not focusing on the stuff that they don't really want to worry about. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Question over here.
yeah.
Good morning, guys. Great job. Just wanted to let you know, Bear's Cat does have jelly bean donuts today. Putting that
Ooh.
out there for $1. Just
Nice.
today. Had to put that out there. That's my plug. I do have a legitimate question too. As someone who does similar things for people, the one thing that I am running into, and I want to question how you handle it, as knowing so many people in the community, I have a lot of friends that are business owners that come to me and want my advice, and they approach it that way, and then it's like, how do you get paid? Because it's your intellectual property. And they're like, technically it's a marketing plan but they want it for free. I guess is how I would see it. And then you're like, how do I ask to be paid?
Mm-hmm.
Have you, especially as you're starting out,
Yeah.
how do you approach that?
I think setting expectations up front is huge.
Okay.
So just even, in that wording, it sounds like you're kind of familiar with when the conversation starts, you're like, okay, I know where this is going. Right. So at least you're easily able to identify it, because that could have been one of the hardest parts. You get too far into it. Maybe just start talking about packages, whether you have them or not. And right. I would. I'd talk about my calendar. If you do want me to fully review stuff, I don't have time this week because I have these and these and these clients. How long do you think it's going to take? I do 85 an hour. Did you want me to look at it next Monday? And just kind of go from there. And go into business mode right away. Mm-hmm. Yep. Or whatever you charge. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's still something I struggle with, because I always love meeting people for coffee. So I have to oh, sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think during that coffee conversation too, it's like, hey, well, if you ever want to explore something, and that's when I talk about the brand packages or headshots. Hey, if you want to just dip your toes in, if you want to explore something, we'll make it work. We'll do something just to get it to that point where it's hey, I still need, I feel like you need this, and it would help both of us. But it's that conversation of the next step if they want something else more than that. But I'm always the one that's yeah, sure, coffee meetup, But if it's once, if it's all the time, it's
And two, you could bring up examples of other work that you've done. It sounds like what you're needing is what I did for this client. You pull it up, this ended up costing them about this much. If you want to work on this portion of the project first, and then wait a quarter so then I can build a second portion, if that's easier for you, something like that. Maybe compare their needs to something you've already done, and then you can tell them how much that was.
And if it's not a good fit for you, you could refer them to the North Dakota Small Business Development Centers. That provides no cost business advising. So just shameless plug for our program there.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, thank you for the great questions this morning. This hour flew by, ladies. So good work, and we are ready for our last question of the morning. Ross, if you wouldn't mind.
That's my job. That's the only thing I get to do around here. So, but again, thank you for your presentation. What you guys do is, it's always super exciting for me to see people who have passion in what they do, and it sounds like both of you have that. So what can we as the 1 Million Cups community do to help you to continue to succeed?
I guess I love being involved in the community. And so if there's ways that I can help the community, I guess, I don't know, like, what is it help? But like, if there's ways to reach out and to help the community, I'm just a big people person that gives me a lot of energy when I get to be involved. So if there's a way that I can help, I usually work with a lot of nonprofits, so I give them a pretty good discount. And so like, if there's like any community events, I'm like, yeah, let's get going. So yeah, I like to know, I like to help wherever I can. So
Yeah, agreed with Tosha. And I would say too, just we all know, fellow business owners. I would just say encourage them to have the confidence in their business that they had when they started it, because a lot of times they'll get bogged down or frustrated with the day-to-day, and then start second guessing. And I think they need to carry that confidence through. And I think the things that we do can help with that. And then in turn, just build that. We do what we do because we want to see other people succeed. So.
Great. All right, let's hear it for Kelly and Tosha one more time here. Thank you, ladies.
thank you.
Okay, well, coming up here at 1 Million Cups, we have North Dakota Trade Office. Drew Combs next week is going to be speaking. North Dakota Nurse Honor Guard the week after that, and then Dakota Patient Advocate Solutions on May 13th. So that's our next 3 weeks here at 1 Million Cups. For those new in the room, love to see you back again. I hope you enjoyed the program. I think, and here is all the places to stay in the loop on what we have going on here. Our Facebook page, all of our programs are live streamed and archived on that YouTube channel. And I think that's all we have for you this week. So let's make it a great rest of the week. Thank you.
Let's just make sure that's off. Sorry.